Welcome to your PWC Connections, a monthly look at what's happening inside PWC and out in our community. I'm your host, Courtney Lucas. We have a fun show to present to you this month. A group of our linemen are preparing to compete against the best of the best in their field from around the country. We'll learn all about the National Line Workers Rodeo from two of our seasoned team members and inside PWC. Then it's on to safety, work zone safety to be exact. We'll get some tips on how to keep everyone safe, workers and drivers alike. Then we have some information to share about air quality and easements, plus a really fun community event that's going to require you to put on your dancing shoes. So stay tuned.
The APPA Line Workers Rodeo is a yearly event sponsored by the American Public Power Association, where they bring together municipalities from across the United States and actually outside of the United States to come in and compete in what the guys' actual crafts are, which is to do line work in different events, usually 5 different events, split up for journeymen and apprentices. And so this year it's going to be in Raleigh, so we're going to see all of the municipalities across the U.S. come in, and they're going to all bring their teams to compete here in Raleigh in April. There's different sets of poles set up for a bunch of different events actually. So they'll see different things going on at once. You'll see hurt man rescue, you'll see cross-arm change-outs, you'll see a bunch of different typical things that the line workers do in what they do in their job, set up at different locations throughout the field where they're actually competing. NCAMES is our local intrastate rodeo. So for NCAMES, you would just see teams that are coming from the utilities within North Carolina. And so as opposed to the APPA, which is an international event, that's our statewide event. So it's important for the guys to practice this because this is their craft. And actually, through practicing what they do, they become better at understanding the safety aspects of what they're doing, and they also are better at perfecting what they do out in the field. It benefits the customer in that our employees work safer, and they're also more efficient, and they're more practiced at what their craft is. So that it definitely is a benefit to them. As an officer at the utility, to see the guys go out and compete and that they've put in the time to practice and go out and compete against other utilities from across the U.S., it's a very proud moment, especially, you know, whether they win or lose, it's great to see them put that effort into wanting to do that action and compete.
I like competing in the rodeo to be competitive, to try to prove that I can do better in the events on the rodeo against other people, see where I compare in my years of experience versus other people. My favorite event will probably be Hurt Man Rescue because it's the quickest event. I ain't got to be up there long. You're up and you're down. The fastest time I have on record in APPA rodeo is a minute and 30 seconds. It starts out, you know, you got a man down, man's been injured, working up on the pole. You throw your gear on as quick as you can. You climb up to him, unhook your hand line. You wrap it around him and throw it around the arm, tie him up in a knot, send him down to the ground where, in a real world situation, somebody would be down there to try to give him CPR or maybe have 911 on the way or something like that. What we're doing in the rodeo is actually real life situations. Even though most of the time in real world we're doing it in a bucket, if you can do it off hooks, you can definitely do it in a bucket. But tying in phases, changing out cross arms, installing insulators, all that stuff, that's stuff that we do on a daily basis. And by doing it in the rodeo, you learn how to do it fast. So when you go out there in the real world and you're doing it, you know, it don't take you all day to do a 10-minute job. I'm very excited about competing in the rodeo. I can't wait for the day to get here.
I'm competing in the journeyman events this year at the APPA National Linemen's Rodeo. Well, in the apprentice competition, you compete solely, so you're by yourself competing and working and do your events. In the journeyman, you have to work as a team. There's me and one other Class A lineman and one groundman helping us compete our events to get them done. I competed in the apprenticeship rodeo for 2 years, and this is my first year as a journeyman. It's a little nerve-wracking. I mean, it's my first year, you know, I'm trying to do good, you know, make PWC look good, and then you got all these people looking at you and stuff, and I have to worry about somebody else, you know, working with me. I'm looking forward to the Hurt Man. That's always been one of my favorite events, and I think that relies a lot on our work too, because you have to be ready at any given time if anything happens. There's usually about 50 journeyman teams competing in this same event, and it's all competed about who gets the fastest time. And so, and you have to do it as safe as possible, which counts as most importantly as well. And it's a race to who gets done first. The morning of the rodeo, I feel like throwing up, because you got everybody from PWC come down here to support you, engineers, staff workers, co-workers. And on top of that, since it's local this year, my family's gonna be there. My first year as a journeyman lineman, so I mean, my heart's gonna burst the first morning. Somebody's gonna have to give me CPR. It's honestly like a brotherhood, you know? Even though we're out there competing and stuff, that's my, brother in line work, We have special connections. I mean, I've made friends with guys past rodeos. I've talked to guys from Tennessee, Oklahoma, Minnesota, San Antonio, Florida. I got friends everywhere I still stay in contact with. I might hate them doing competition day, but when we get together as a banquet, just like old family, getting back together like a reunion. I'm proud to compete on the rodeo team because I love the line of work I do. And also I love PWC, the company I work for. So for me to go out there and compete and represent them, that's a great honor, that's a great title for me.
At Fayetteville's Public Works Commission, people make the difference.
My name's Chris, and I'm a lineman at PWC.
Chris and his colleagues help make PWC one of the most reliable power providers in the nation. As a local public power company, PWC can provide faster emergency response. With system upgrades and continuous maintenance, they ensure the excellent everyday service. And their rates are among the lowest in the state. For tips on conserving power, visit PWC's website.
Work Zone Safety Awareness Week is a week that we donate through our national campaign. It's usually between April 9th through the 13th, where we talk about the hazards associated with working in and around work zones, to bring awareness to not only drivers but our crews that work within the zones. Work zone safety is important to PWC because we have a large part in setting up those zones. And we want to be continually setting up the same standard within our zones so that we don't confuse the public that we work for, and to make sure that we ensure safety of not only our personnel, our community. Everybody's responsible for work zone safety. It starts with us setting up the zones and making sure that we're within the same standard each time, to the individuals driving or are passing through our zones, to make sure that they're not distracted driving, texting on their phones, obeying local laws. Our crews have a new requirement this year starting in July, and that is the actual setup crew also has to be certified, not just the supervisor or the flagger. There's been a lot of studies done recently from Ohio State that looked at some of the behaviors that we have with our work zone safeties, and one of the things that they found out is the continual consistency of setting up the zones the same. And that's what we're looking at to improve on. And for the drivers, from their perspective, going through a work zone, it tends to be rather confusing for them, especially with all the cones all over. There's lots of cool things to look at, cranes and backhoes. They tend to get very distracted. So it's really important that our crews, push off to the edge of the road and make sure that they're setting up those zones correctly. Driver behavior affects work zone safety in many ways. Again, texting and driving. If you're not paying attention, and believe it or not, passengers are the #1 cause for injuries. It's over 80% of the injuries or deaths or anything like that resulting in a work zone fatality were because of the passenger distracting the driver. Very, very little, less than 10 to 13% are actual crew related injuries. So making sure that you prepare, if you can avoid that zone, it's better to plan a different route or give yourself some extra time. Some other tips that we can use to protect our employees and our community. When encountering a work zone, remember, stay alert, don't speed, watch and obey the signs, don't drive while distracted, watch out for road debris, don't change lanes in a work zone, and be patient. And finally, don't tailgate. On an average given day, we have about 24 crews working around town. So more than likely within our community, you're going to see us on the street. The road work ahead sign is defined as unusual driving conditions. So that really defines our work zone safety, and be prepared for things that are normally not usual to our driving conditions. It's my intent and PWC's intent to bring all our employees to work safely and to make sure that they get home to their families every night. So work safely and be very cautious in work zones.
Well, the Cumberland County Council on Older Adults is a nonprofit agency. We've been around since 1968. So June of this year, 2018, we'll be celebrating 50 years of serving the seniors here in Cumberland County. Our mission is to help older adults maintain their independence as long as possible. So to do that, we provide home and community-based supportive services, and such services as our Meals on Wheels program, where we serve homebound older adults who are unable to prepare meals for themselves and have no one to prepare them for them any longer. In addition to our Meals on Wheels program, we also have a congregate lunch program, and we have 6 sites located throughout the county for those older adults who are still able to get out, whether they're able to drive or someone can drive them or use public transportation, to come and they can enjoy the same meal in a congregate setting. We also do home improvement services. We build a lot of handicap ramps, grab bars, handrails, those type things like that. In addition to that, we have an information and referral program where if an older caregiver calls looking for various resources in the community, we have trained staff who can provide them that information. Another one of our programs is Senior Health Insurance Information Program, better known as SHIP. It's funded through the North Carolina Department of Insurance. And that program helps with Medicare beneficiaries and those just entering into Medicare. We have a senior companion program where we have trained volunteers who will go out to the homes of those who need help. It could be just primarily providing companionship. Telephone reinsurance is similar to the senior companion program, but we have volunteers who call seniors on the telephone on a daily basis. Those are our primary services that we offer here at the council. The Blast from the Past is our annual fundraising event. We started 4 years ago, so this will be our 5th annual event. And it is primarily a dance event, dance and dinner. We have 5-star entertainment. We'll be providing the music, and we'll have a photo booth and a silent auction along with that, 50-50 raffle, and just a lot of things to hold people's interest, and we have a good time with that. But the primary focus obviously is to help us raise funds so that we can sustain and hopefully expand the services that we're providing. Last year we had groups that came in and did some demonstrations and then encouraged people to get up and dance. I think this year we're going to be doing the same thing, but yeah, it's a dance, actual party atmosphere, so people will have a good time. The Blast from the Past event is May 5th. That's on a Saturday, and it will be at the Ramada Plaza Hotel, and the event starts at 6 p.m. and lasts till 10 p.m. Tickets are $60 per person, and tickets can be purchased by calling our office at 484-0111 or by going online. Our Blast from the Past seeks sponsors to help with the event. We have 3 levels of sponsorships. The top level is called the Twist. It's a $3,000 level. The next level is the Hustle. We call it the Hustle. It's a $1,500 level. We have a 3rd level, which is called the Slide. It's a $500 level. I would like to encourage everyone to support the Council on Older Adults Blast from the Past. In doing so, you will help support services that many of our seniors rely upon. And we look forward to seeing you at the event.
Hello again. My name is Lamont Henson, and on this edition of The Facts, we're going to be talking about easements and right-of-ways. Hopefully, we can make easements a little bit easier and give you the right info when it comes to rights of way. Now, some people may not even know if they have an easement or right-of-way. So we're working with some of our experts in water construction and electrical engineering to give you some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to easements and right-of-ways. Let's get into it. So what is an easement? Well, an easement is a permanent right for a person or party to use authorized land or property of another for a particular purpose. A right-of-way is the actual land or property that's being used. You may have a transmission line or a building of some sort that's located there. So now we're going to get into the facts of what we can and shouldn't do.
We need easements cleared just for access. We have a lot of equipment out in the field that requires a certain distance, and we got to safely access those pieces. Say for instance, transformers, we need to be able to open up a transformer door and safely work it when it's hot. In order to do that, we need an area of 10 feet. If we go to the transformer and there's a fence in front of the door, then we can't open it, we can't access it. So in times of outages at night, we're unable to safely get the power back on, which is going to take more time. The biggest problem with blocking our easements is we're unable to get equipment to those areas that we need to. Say for instance, we got a broke pole that's behind a house. If that customer has put up fences in the way of the easement, we can't get the truck back there to repair the pole and replace it. Some of the common interferences we see with right-of-way access is fences, landscaping, being bushes, trees that have been planted by the customer after the fact, after we've put things in. Buildings, some people put barns in the way, so we're unable to get to a pole because they've built a barn directly beside that pole. We would really like to work with customers when it comes to easement access. So if the best thing would be if they would call us and we would get an engineer or a tech to come out and speak with them and let them know what they can do in that easement.
We need our water and sewer easements cleared to help us maintain them and inspect them when needed, and also if we have any repairs to be made, to be able to access the line to do repairs. If the easements aren't cleared, that could slow the process up of making a repair in a timely manner for water or sewer lines. So keeping them cleared helps us know we can get in and access and make repairs when needed. We commonly see problems with easements. They could have, we've seen swimming pools on them or closer than they should be to them. Fences. Had run into some home additions that were built real close to the easement, which would impede us if we went to dig up and make a repair. Also, people sometimes when they are planting trees in their yard, they get them too close to the easement, and if we had to dig there to make a repair, they could possibly lose the tree. If customers plan on doing any remodeling around the home or fencing, swimming pool, things of that nature, the first thing they would need to do is check their plat or their deed to their property to see if they have any easements crossing their property. That way they would know and have an idea about how to go forward with their plans. Well, easements and right-of-ways are necessary for our system to run. Our sewer lines are grade dependent and flow by gravity, so sometimes we can't control where we want them to be. We try to keep them as shallow as possible for maintenance, and if we have to work on them, and sometimes that puts it down in the low-lying areas, close to the creeks, and it can't stay in the street all the time. Sometimes people might not even know they have an easement on their property. A good place to go would be your county GIS data. You can go on there and it shows water, sewer, electric, and storm drain easements.
FAMPO is in charge of transportation planning for most of Cumberland County, parts of Harnett County, Hoke County, and parts of Robeson County. FAMPO has been tasked with air quality in terms of transportation planning. Whenever regions are experiencing poor air quality, it makes it tougher to get funding for road construction and transportation planning. So for what we do at FAMPO, the large focus is on maintaining air quality so that we can continue with some of our transit plans. Beginning in 2003, the Air Quality Stakeholders of Cumberland County was started to focus on ozone. We were experiencing some poor air quality days with ozone. And ozone is a chemical compound that causes irritation in your lungs, eyes, also can cause fatigue. And that's from just having too many car emissions and industrial emissions combined. Right now we are doing great on ozone. Our Ozone Advanced program by the Fayetteville Area Metropolitan Planning Organization's Air Quality Stakeholders is a model Ozone Advanced program regionally. EPA has been sharing our program and our successes all over the region. Air quality is important because of our individual health and the health of our pets. Whenever we are experiencing poor air quality days, there's more incidents of respiratory illness in our ERs. Yeah, Air Quality Awareness Week is coming up on April 30th through May 4th. This year we have a number of planned events for Air Quality Week, which includes focus on the 20th anniversary of airnow.gov. That program is an online way for you and your community to monitor your local air quality. We do encourage everyone to download the app that day so that they can track their local air quality and make determinations on what activities to do based on what the app is telling them. So that's a pretty exciting day. The second day, that's a Tuesday, is our Health Awareness Day. We're going to focus on asthma. We do have a pretty high amount of asthma cases in Cumberland County, and we want to make more people aware that air quality impacts asthma and can irritate or make worse that condition. Wednesday is going to be our wildfire and smoke day. Just a little tip, here in our community we experience smoke from what's called prescribed burning in the longleaf pine habitat in the Moore County, Hoke County, Scotland County region. That is required and necessary for that habitat. However, we still experience the smoke from those fires, and we're going to put out information in the community on what to do when you are experiencing smoke, either from wildfires or prescribed burns. Thursday is our Sensor and Citizen Science Day. We have some pretty exciting news that we are getting a few small non-regulatory sensors for citizens to use and begin monitoring their local air quality. Super local, we're talking about in your community, in your neighborhood. So that's pretty exciting. And then Friday, we're going to have our International Air Quality Day. While we do experience some pretty good air quality here in Cumberland County, there are other parts of the world that are still struggling with high smog days and things like that. So we want to kind of share and build awareness of what's also happening internationally that week. So in our community, individuals can take steps to improve local air quality. One of the things that we encourage people to do is on high heat days, don't mow the lawn in the middle of the day. Other steps that local citizens can take is take advantage of our local public transit and biking to reduce vehicle emissions. Going through the drive-through has a high impact on our vehicle emissions. So, take a moment and get out of your car and go inside wherever you're visiting and avoid idling in the drive-through. Also, parents who are picking their children up from school shouldn't idle their cars while waiting on their children. So whenever you're refueling your cars, try to avoid overfilling your tank. Most of the stuff that you're putting in there in your tank, once it's already full, is simply going to evaporate out into the local environment. And again, fueling your tank early in the morning or late in the afternoon is ideal. Annually, FAMPO and the air quality stakeholders put together a air quality poster contest with students in Cumberland County in kindergarten through 5th grade. And that award ceremony is coming up in May. We do that poster contest so that students can begin learning about air quality and the importance to their health from a very young age, so they begin to own and take responsibility for local air quality. So as you can see, air quality is important to our health and the health of the planet, and we hope that our community comes together to continue protecting our local air quality.
Hi, and welcome to Take One. This is our chance to highlight news, upcoming events, and important FYIs from Fayetteville Public Works Commission. We're celebrating Earth Day this month. There are several things you can do to go green, protect the planet, save money, and make every day Earth Day, like planting a tree. Just visit PWC's website for proper planting tips, and remember to call NC 811 first. Replace inefficient light bulbs with energy-efficient CFLs or LEDs, and reduce your carbon footprint by hundreds of pounds a year. Carpool, use public transportation, or drive an electric car. Remember, you can charge for no charge at one of 4 electric car charging stations around town. The details can be found on PWC's website. And consider making the switch to paperless billing. It's a green option that's environmentally friendly and saves trees. PWC offers e-bill, pay by text, bank draft, and more. Here are some other things you can do year-round. Take shorter showers. This will help the environment and your PWC bill. Fix leaky faucets. Turn off and unplug electronics that you're not using, and remember to turn off the lights when you leave a room. These tips are great for Earth Day, but they're also great year-round and again, will help your PWC bill. Later this month, we'll celebrate National Line Workers Appreciation Day by expressing our utmost appreciation to the great men and women that work so hard to keep your power on by building and maintaining the system that keeps our nation running. Here at PWC, we have more than 50 linemen who help maintain hundreds of miles of power lines across Cumberland County. Our linemen work day and night in all weather conditions to serve the community, and we thank them for that. You can celebrate National Lineman Appreciation Day with us by using the hashtag #ThankALineman or National Lineman Appreciation on social media this month. Before you water your lawn this spring, remember the odd-even outdoor watering schedules. Following the year-round schedule is a simple step that goes a long way to conserve our precious water supply and manage our daily water use. Think before you water, and don't just water because it's your watering day. Adjust your sprinklers to water only the landscaping in your yard, and be sure not to overwater. 1 inch of water is usually enough. Always remember to turn off your sprinklers when it rains, and don't water when it's windy or during the hottest times of the day. Thanks for watching Take One, and remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.